Hey everybody, welcome to Horror Face Off. I'm your host, Jason. And on this episode, we get very festive. It's 1981's My Bloody Valentine versus 2001's Valentine. It's the horror world's version of getting all romantic. Horror Face Off is next. Joining us on this episode to break it all down, we have horror journalist Kat, horror actress Haley. We have content creator and co-owner of Nightmare Toys, Christy. Horror fan John. Horror model Megan. They join the horror face-off slasher Leighanne and me, your host, Jason. Hey everybody, and welcome to another season of Horror Face Off. This is our 4th season, and happy Valentine's Day. So how does this show work? We take 2 horror films and match them up against each other. Using specific categories, the show's fearless panelists dissect every bone-chilling detail. In the end, the film that has the most category points wins Horror Face Off. But the panel needs to think fast, where they only have a limited time to make their case. If they take too long, they will be killed. And with that, let's meet our harvester of sorrow, my trusty killer, Leighanne. How's it going, Leighanne?
It's good. I'm excited to come kill some people. I hope you all die.
Awesome. Are you doing anything special for Valentine's Day?
Harvesting souls. What else? I mean, is there other things to do besides harvest souls? I mean...
Okay, I like it. All right, so without further ado, we are ready to begin the show. And to start this show, I thought we'd start with a man that I... Oh, wait, you're the only guy on this panel. I just realized that.
I was pretty sure you were talking about me at that point.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we're sorry, ladies. No ladies first on romantic Valentine's episode here. So we're gonna start with Big John. John, we're gonna start off with plot. Are you ready to go?
I'm always ready.
All right. Go.
So for plot, I went with My Bloody Valentine. It has the whole backstory of the killer. It kind of has the events surrounding the holiday party that they keep not having. There's kind of that urban legend built into the city that has a plot. Valentine doesn't really technically have a plot. It sort of has an inciting incident in the past, and then people just start getting killed. But there's not a whole lot else to it beyond that. So My Bloody Valentine did kind of work into a bit of a backstory and create their own plot. So I'm giving it the thumbs up there.
All right.
You're not killing me.
I will. I'll get you. And your little dog, too.
All right. So we're going to move on to Kat. You ready to go? I
Yes.
love your... sorry, I didn't even acknowledge. And I'm going to talk to everybody a little bit here, throughout the show. But I love your little ear hearts.
My ear heart. I had a whole setup and it fell down as soon as we started.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
It's still falling.
That's okay. You still got headwear, so we're all good.
True.
Okay. Are you ready for plot?
Yes.
All right, go.
So these movies are really similar for one, like storyline and plot wise. I think they have a lot in common that I didn't realize before. But My Bloody Valentine is just a little bit darker with the way it starts, with him getting trapped and resorting to cannibalism and then creating this whole urban legend feel. And I like the darkness factor to that one, whereas Valentine it's a fun movie and it has a similar plot, but as far as horror movie goes, My Bloody Valentine, I think, is the winner.
Kill!
No
Gotcha.
way.
Got you by a second.
Wow, that was the
wrapping it
first
up, but I
time.
got you.
That's the first time we got her. And you're shocked, I could tell.
I am.
Strong.
That was... Well, you know what? Now you don't have to worry about it. You've died. It's all good. Oh, it's okay. You lasted longer than
8
most.
lives left.
That's right. All right. Okay, so Christy, you heard a couple. You feel like you're ready to give it a go?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Okay, your time starts now.
So for me, I too think that they both kind of have a similar plot, but I do love My Bloody Valentine a whole lot more than Valentine. I think the story is just there's a lot more to the story, and there's a lot more gore, and that's just what I like in my slasher movie. So My Bloody Valentine for me.
All right. Okay. Well, no question about that time. Um, so we're gonna move on to another newbie on the show, Haley. Think you got the hang of this?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So I'd say for plot, I would also go with My Bloody Valentine, just because there's definitely a lot more layers, with the origin, then kind of, getting to more modern day, and then seeing all the kind of different layers of this character, Harry Warden. And also just like a very fun, campy time. And I think like just the elements of that make it a much more fun movie. Even though I do like Valentine, I think it's also a lot of fun. I'm going to have to give it to My Bloody Valentine.
All right. Okay. So it's there's pressure on the later you go in around, because if everybody starts saying one film, do you have the guts to go and stand on an island? We'll find out if Megan disagrees. Megan, you're up.
Um, I mean, they're both stories about revenge. So for me, it kind of goes more to like the actual origin of the antagonist. And I like Valentine, but I kind of like My Bloody Valentine a little bit more, the way that they just kind of tied everything in from like not just Harry Warden, but then I don't know, do we put the spoiler out there about Axel? I mean, I would go with My Bloody Valentine. I just like how they tied everything in ultimately.
You
You're
done?
not
Okay.
gonna give me this time. I swear to God, you're not gonna give me this time.
No,
Oh, I will.
We'll get you.
I
We'll
will.
get you. All right. So that's it for plot. Everybody's got the hang of it now. We're well on to season 4, and I'm not a punny kind of guy, but there was no love for Valentine's on that round. All right. So we will move on to setting. And for this one, we're going to start with Kat, who I am guessing you're going to probably play back this episode and count down the 40 seconds to make sure that it was legit. But regardless.
I've got a timer.
Anyways, Kat, you can start us off with setting. Go for it.
Setting is, for me, I love the whole like Valentine's party thing in Valentine. But I think My Bloody Valentine, the mines, they're like the perfect dichotomy between the celebration going on in the town and everybody having just a great Valentine's dance, and then the dark, murderous, horrible mines that everyone just dies in and horrible things have happened. So I really like the setting for that one. So My Bloody Valentine wins again.
All right. Valentine's got to get on the board here, and we'll see. Haley, you're up. You ready?
Yeah. I'm also going to go with My Bloody Valentine because one, the town itself is Valentine Bluff. I think that's the name, right? So one, you got Valentine right away. Two, as Kat said, the mines. Like that's such a unique kind of setting. And then also, having the dance and all these other kind of fun things, the laundromat. There's so many different locations that just make it a lot of fun, and seeing how that they like are incorporated.
All right. John, go for it.
I went back and forth on this one a lot, but I think I am going to give Valentine its first little heart here on this one. I really liked the scene in the art museum with the kind of modern, sort of postmodern art show going on. It was kind of stylish and cool. I get that it was kind of a really world of really rich 20-somethings, and it didn't seem very realistic. But I kind of liked the style that they gave it as they kind of went along. But I do love the world of My Bloody Valentine too. But I'm going Valentine.
All right, Christy, you're up.
All right, well, coming from a small town in Illinois, I'm going with My Bloody Valentine. So I like the small town feel of it, and it just felt so homey. I don't like the whole rich kid thing. Oh, Hollywood, everybody's all rich and fancy and all that. I don't really feel all that. And again, with it being Valentine Bluffs and everything is just like thrown up Valentines all through the whole town. It's just gorgeous. And yeah, going with My Bloody Valentine.
All right. Megan, you're ending the round for us.
Okay, so I'm also going to go with My Bloody Valentine because I like how the whole backstory centers around the mines. The mines are what like keep the money flowing into this tiny town. The dance itself is right in the town where all the small townspeople are, doing their thing, celebrating, and yeah, it just ties in way too well. I don't like the fanciness. I don't know. I felt like it was kind of all over the place. I was lost in the mansion. Dun, 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 dun.
Did you kill yourself?
No, well,
Can't do that.
I'm just trying to make sure that I get the timer to stop beforehand.
You have
determined
6
not
seconds.
to
Oh,
do
You
that.
could've gone.
You're telling us
That's
when you're
fine.
done. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, done. Like, don't kill me. Don't do it.
I'll
All
get
right.
you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're moving on to the next category, which is filmmaking. For people watching for the first time, this is where the panelists can bring in cinematography, even special effects, which is in a solo category, and score and everything. This is where you can kind of put it all in the pot, and it all falls under the filmmaking category. So 40 seconds is not really a lot, but we're going to move on to Christy. And before we start this off, Christy was actually one of the stars of the sequel, Valentine Bluffs. So it's kind of cool to have you on the show.
Thanks. Yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, it is on YouTube. It's pretty much a direct sequel to My Bloody Valentine. It's like 40 years later. So in Valentine Bluffs, and they did film in a mine too as well.
All
They
right.
do have a real.
Yeah, that is really cool, and it's cool to have you on the show.
Thanks. I'm wearing the shirt to it. So
Nice.
the miners played by Chuck Ryan. I don't know if y'all know Chuck Ryan, but he's a big cosplayer and he plays the miner and did an excellent job.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for the info. All right, are you ready to take a crack at filmmaking?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're up.
So for me, My Bloody Valentine, again, the cinematography in that is just, it's creepy. Nothing special about Valentine in the way that it was filmed, I didn't think. Again, the mines, like everybody else has said, that it's probably hard to shoot in there. Just a creepy feel throughout the whole movie. So, My Bloody Valentine.
All right. Are you trying to avoid death, Christy? Or are your
No.
points just coming in succinct?
I'm sorry. I guess I'm just not very.
No. I'm wondering if it's on your agenda or if you don't care. But I know someone who does care, and it's Kat. Kat, you're up.
I think so. First off, I love early 2000s horror. I love it. It's cheesy. It's great. They're almost B movies. It's fantastic. Valentine does a good job of hitting all the points of like technicalities, but I don't really feel like there's anything special about it. My Bloody Valentine, everyone mentioned the mines, and that scene with the headlamp is just so good. Like there's more passion to it, and I really respect that. So I think that one wins in filmmaking.
All right, I got to say something. One of the things with doing the show, I get I feel around and I ask people for, and everybody keeps saying 90s films or late 2000 or early 2000s and stuff like that. I throw an early 2000 film in there and it's getting destroyed. So I just want to say I'm gonna have to stop listening to people and just go with my instinct, but it's all good. All right, John, you're up.
All right, so I think one thing that's kind of interesting about both these movies is they're both kind of the tail end of their movements. Like, My Bloody Valentine was way at the end of the early slashers, and then Valentine was kind of way at the end of the Scream run. So they're kind of both really derivative of better movies. I actually gave this to Valentine. I don't think My Bloody Valentine is particularly well shot. I think the scenes with the people, it kind of looks like a 70s TV movie. It's not particularly well done. I like the movie because I'm old, but Valentine, it's very spot on in terms of just how modern movies are made and shot.
Yeah.
So.
Got you, John. I told you I would.
We just killed 2 people that had no kills against them. So now you guys can relax. You've been killed and you move on. And you brought in good insights. That's what it's all about. Bringing up good points. And you did that. You always do that. All right. Haley, you're up.
All right. So I think I'm gonna say that it is my Bloody Valentine, and the reason being is the use of sound, score, and also just the use of kind of the prop of the light. And for example, going into the mine, how they use the lighting in that, and also when the miner is killing the lights, using that with the sound and stuff. And also in the remake 2009, they do a very good job of that when they're showing it. And also the opening when they're like, oh, is he going for a boob grab? No, he's looking at her heart. I think that's just the way that they did that. They're like, oh, just going straight into that and using the breathing noises and everything.
This is amazing.
She's loving this.
We should talk, filmmaking more.
I love it. It's true, right? I got to make the topics more complex and layered. Megan.
I honestly didn't write one down for this because I've been tossing it back and forth. Usually I do more of a deep dive into the trivia of it and get more information. I swear I like Valentine, but I'm going with My Bloody Valentine because it was harder for me to figure out who the killer was. The way that they filmed it and trying to see where he was. I was trying to see who was present in all the kills, and I think they did a good job there.
All right. Okay. So getting some sprinklings of Valentine in there now. Okay, so we move on to characters, and for this one, we will start off with the freshly deceased Haley.
So I'm gonna say also for sure My Bloody Valentine because I just love camp horror and everyone is just so silly in it. All their line deliveries are hilarious. For example, for some reason I wrote down when the police officer is like, "Where's the party?" And he just says it in a way that it's why would we deliver it this way? And just all of them are very fun facial expressions. It's just a romp good time. So I have to go with My Bloody Valentine.
All right, well said. All right, John.
I'm giving this one to Valentine too. I do agree that the characters in Valentine are excessively attractive. But I think in My Bloody Valentine, kind of to Haley's point, they almost don't feel like actors half the time. It just feels like they found people on the street and threw them in the movie. No offense to them. But I think with Valentine, plus Valentine has Marley Shelton, and I'm always going to give it extra points just because she exists. So for that, I'm going to give it to Valentine.
All right, Megan.
I am actually going to give it to Valentine also. I feel like the character is a little bit more diverse. You've got the sexy one, Denise Richards. You've got the nerdy one. I don't know. I just feel like there's more going on with the characters, and you get to know those characters a little better than you do in My Bloody Valentine. That centers more around 3 people and sprinkles of other people. So, Valentine.
I'm going with Valentine as well. Just like Megan said, all the characters have their own kind of personality and they have more depth to them than the characters in My Bloody Valentine. I love My Bloody Valentine, but the characters are a little bit boring. And it is, with TJ and Axel consistently fighting over Sarah, and it's a little bit cheesy. It's almost like, are y'all in love with each other kind of a thing? So it's a little annoying. So I go with the characters in Valentine for me.
All right. That must have been close. No?
32.
No. Oh, okay. Not. You had time to kill. All right. Kat, you ready to go?
Okay, so my answer on this one is short and sweet. I felt like neither movie had a lot of depth to their characters, but I had way more fun watching Valentine. Those characters were just more entertaining, and I enjoyed watching them all die, so I'm gonna go with Valentine.
All right, there we go. We're moving along. So, one of the cool things about this season is we're adding in topics that kind of play up to the shows that we are featuring. And for this one, it's festiveness. So, which of these films captured the festive nature of Valentine's Day best for you? So, we will start with John.
For this one, I mean, My Bloody Valentine, they definitely go out of their way to make Valentine's Day a huge part of that town and the entire movie. I know Valentine has like the speed dating scene and things like that, but otherwise it could be taking place kind of in any time of the year. You wouldn't really know the difference. So My Bloody Valentine, they're full in on this happening at Valentine's Day and Valentine's Day being important to everybody in that town.
All right. Kat.
My Bloody Valentine, because the town is literally called Valentine's Bluff, for one. So super festive right there, the whole theme of the movie. Also, I feel like it's just slightly more centered around Valentine's Day. There's a whole like creepy lore around Valentine's Day in that town that doesn't exist in Valentine. So I'm gonna give it to My Bloody Valentine just for the lore, honestly.
All right. Christy.
My Bloody Valentine, again, I mean, it's just like Valentine just threw up in that town. Valentine Bluff, name of the town. Again, there's a whole story that around the town around Valentine's Day. So you got everything decorated in there. The streets, the laundromat, all the stores, everything is just completely decorated, and it's just beautiful. So My Bloody Valentine.
Nice. Haley.
I am also going to go with My Bloody Valentine, agreeing with pretty much what everyone else said, and also in the way that they do the kills. One with, the different Valentine's Day notes, and also taking the hearts and then putting them in the boxes. So just like, they're just overkilling Valentine's Day in every category. As for Valentine, it's definitely Valentine's Day, but there's so much more to it. So I think that just makes it much more of a Valentine's Day movie.
I think you're right, Haley. Boxed human hearts really does spell Valentine's, doesn't it?
That's love to me. So.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right, Megan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a good point that, like, I was going to bring up the hearts in the box, too. That whole, like, My Bloody Valentine, they really like Valentine's Day in that town. And I just think that Valentine's Day plays more of a pivotal role in the actual plot itself, because the miners that were in charge were like, we're going to go party at this Valentine's Day party, which is the whole reason they don't want to have the Valentine's Day party in the first place, because it's like what caused the big explosion. So I'm going to go with My Bloody Valentine, because yes, it was a Valentine's Day party, but it wasn't as festive.
All right. So we're moving on to kills. Which film's kills spoke to you? And for this one, we will start off with Christy. You could probably speak to kills in Valentine films. I'm sure you've probably were on set for a bunch, but which? Well, let's find out what you say.
This is a hard one. I love all the kills in both movies. I think they're both creative in both movies too, both equally gory. But I guess I'm gonna have to go with My Bloody Valentine, just because of the practical effects from that day and age, and with Mabel in the dryer. I mean, I don't think I've ever really seen that in anything else so much. And when you watch the uncut, I mean, you see a lot of her, and she's really burnt up, and I just thought that was pretty interesting, that particular kill for that. And then the girl in the mine with the water coming out of her mouth, that was pretty creative too, because she looked like a fountain.
Kill.
You got so
I
excited.
dropped the knife.
You
I'm
dropped the
finally
knife.
getting her.
I knew
Again, very fitting that we got you
And
on
the
the
slasher
kill.
drops their knife because they're too excited to kill.
Amateurs.
Right?
That's that didn't even happen in Scary Movie. That was awesome. Okay, but your point was well taken. Did you get an answer from that, Leighanne? It was
My Bloody Valentine?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that on the end of that we got an answer. So we'll move to Kat.
Okay, so I just wrote down my favorite kill from each movie, and I'll just decide then. So for My Bloody Valentine, it was that hot dog water scene, just because I had to laugh at it, because, like, honestly, hot dog water, I love it. The other one was, of course, the hot tub, like, closing in on her, and then the drilling in the holes, and then he just throws it in the hot tub at the very last. Like, she had the most brutal death in that movie by far. Like, that would just, it would suck so bad to die that way. So honestly, I think I'm gonna give it to Valentine, because that was just elaborate and theatrical and ridiculous, and I loved it.
Kill. Gotta say that last
So
word.
it's like right on
You should
time.
have said I love it. You should have
There's
just
no
left it.
There's no mercy.
There's no
on this
mercy.
I
show.
do love it.
No mercy here.
Sometimes you're passionate about a topic. You just gotta go for it. Get your time in. All right. So for kills, we move to Megan.
Oh no. I'm pretty torn about this because everybody brought up really good points. I thought I knew what I was going to do when I came into this. I might go with Valentine because they were more strategic. Like, he had a goal in mind. He knew who he was coming after. He was on a revenge plan. And in My Bloody Valentine, they were more sporadic. It was just kind of like, Axel, you're at that party too, bro. You're just killing all your friends for what? Like, off yourself then. I just felt like, I think they were more creative in My Bloody Valentine, but there was purpose behind the kills, and there was foreshadowing, so, Valentine.
That was close.
I know,
Very
how
close.
close was I? How close was I?
38 seconds.
38 seconds. All right, Haley.
So I'm gonna switch it up and go with Valentine because I've gone with My Bloody Valentine this whole time, even though, believe me, hot dog water kill, A-okay in my book. Like, that's so good. But I will say overall, like, you know, as Megan was saying, like, the Valentine kills were much more planned out, and also they are, like, each kill is so different from each other, as where I feel like My Bloody Valentine, like, it's all, you know, still there's similarities to each. And I do think also, like, the morgue scene is very unique and interesting, and I thought that that was really well done. So I'm gonna have to give it to Valentine.
All right. Big John, bring us home.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Valentine too. Like everyone else said, they're more elaborate. They're kind of more stylish. My Bloody Valentine had a couple pretty cool deaths, but there were a lot of just, you know, pickaxe to the gut shots too, to kind of mow through some characters, which got a little redundant to me. I did like the one where he slammed the girl's head into the spike. That was kind of a really cool one in My Bloody Valentine. But Valentine had the arrows. It had the shattered glass where he impales them, you know, on the mat, which I thought was really gross and cool. So Valentine gets this one.
Okay. So we move on to... Is that a milkshake you're drinking? I pictured it a milkshake.
No, it's a Spindrift sparkling water.
Oh, okay.
With my
I
really
figured...
long straw.
I figured the percentage of it being a milkshake was very low, but I don't know, with the hearts and everything, I kind of just pictured this 50s vibe. All right, Megan, we're going to start off with you. Scare factor. Which film spooked you more?
Neither really. I don't know. Honestly, neither were
No
really
ties.
that scary to me, but I'd maybe go to My Bloody Valentine. Maybe it's because it's the darkness of it all. And I never really know when he's going to show up. I don't have a very good answer. I don't think either were that scary, but I'll go with My Bloody Valentine.
All right. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, in this category, horror fans, we don't scare that easy. So you just kind of got to give it to the one that maybe just kind of gave you a
What made me
creepy
laugh
moment or
most.
something like that. All right, John.
I went with My Bloody Valentine. It might just be the fact that I saw it when I was 10, and so it was much scarier then than it is now. But again, Valentine didn't scare me at all because I won't say how old I was when Valentine actually came out, but I was older. So yeah, My Bloody Valentine, it had definitely a mood and a style to it and a creepiness to it. Not necessarily terrifying, but again, I did see it when I was 10, so it was a little bit scarier then.
You know, we could do the math now because you said you saw it when you were 10.
Well, that might not be completely accurate, but
Okay, all right. We're not exposing anybody here. Haley, you're up.
Yeah, I would say both are just a fun time, so they're not necessarily scary. But I would say that My Bloody Valentine is scarier because of the whole kind of the mask itself and also the sound and just the way that he looks is way scarier than the fun little Cupid mask. Obviously he's coming to kill you, but that's just also kind of hilarious, like how he looks. So I would say My Bloody Valentine.
All right, Christy, which film scared you?
Neither one really had too much of a scare factor for me, but if I have to choose one, My Bloody Valentine, because of the atmosphere of the movie. The mine is scary. For me, if I got trapped in that mine like the miners do at the beginning of the movie, that's scary in itself. So I'd have to go with My Bloody Valentine.
All right. Well, you're keeping it short now. We're just. All right. So for the next one, we'll go to Kat.
I'm also going to go with My Bloody Valentine purely because neither of these movies are really that scary. They're a lot of fun, but if I had to run from someone in a mine, it would be a lot more terrifying than if I had to run from someone just at my friend's house. So I'm going to go with My Bloody Valentine just for that.
When you break it down that way. Good job. All right, moving on to antagonist. And for this one, we're going to start off with Christy.
Oh, the antagonist. I'm going to have to go with... Oh, that's a hard one, too. I'll have to go with My Bloody Valentine on that one, too. The antagonist on that one has a lot more depth to it than the antagonist in Valentine. So, My Bloody Valentine.
All right. Kat.
This is hard because I feel like both of the antagonists are known and they're trusted, so it's kind of that shock coming in. But honestly, that cherub mask, it's so terrifying to me. It's like some uncanny valley, almost human but not quite vibes, and it's just horrifying. Imagine waking up to that in the middle of the night. I think that's more terrifying than the rogue miner who kind of looks like a Scooby-Doo villain. So I'm going to give this one to Valentine.
No, that was bang on the nose, that was the Scooby-Doo.
I have to appreciate that you use the word cherub, because I remember when they used it in the film, I was like, who actually uses that? It's just like a it's a Cupid mask, and they kept referring to it like that, so I appreciate that. I was keeping track to see if anybody used that.
Excuse me. Awesome. Okay, so John.
Yeah, I kind of went with Valentine on this one too. I like the visual of the miner because it's just a cool looking Scooby-Doo looking villain. I do agree on that part, but I do think the backstory for Valentine's a little crazier and a little more reasonable, because I feel like if the miner had that backstory his entire life, someone would have brought it up at some point in his life, and the fact that it never got mentioned until that moment seemed a little bit of a reach for me. Whereas the Valentine thing, he could have been plotting that the whole time, and that's kind of believable to me.
All right. Megan.
I know exactly who I'm going with. I'm going with Valentine. Because, Axel, you get, a 15-second backstory, which is traumatic, but there was nothing that really led up to it really beforehand for me, where Adam/Jeremy, he was strategic, man. He wormed his way in with whatever her name was, Kate, right? I think that was her name. He planned this so far in advance, weaseled his way in for the trust, and came down the rainfire. So I go with him.
All right. Haley.
I'm also going to have to agree about Valentine having the better antagonist, even though I absolutely love the look of the minor in terms of the way they look. Obviously, My Bloody Valentine, but in terms of the backstory and like as Megan was saying, like that took a lot of planning for him to become this essentially other person, and then so like we were so bamboozled at the end, like oh it's him. So I just think that yeah, like his story makes more sense. As where I feel like with Axel, it's like you witnessed your dad die, but now why are we killing all your friends? Like it doesn't really like
Kill.
add up.
It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been too
All
long.
right. Lots of love for a nicely organized killer. All right, so we move on to poster. So this is which film had the better poster. This is usually the point in the show where a few people scramble to their phones to look up the posters, and and I stall. So I have no problem with doing that, but you all look fairly ready. So I am going to start off with Megan.
I don't know because I found so many different versions of the posters, so it's kind of hard to decide. I wish I don't know. Are we talking about like the one that you sent me in the messenger, or is like just the one minor and it was just like dark?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Is that
Those
the
are
one?
Those are the OGs.
All right, probably that one. It's scarier. It leaves more to the imagination. Where
That one.
Yeah, My Bloody Valentine. The other one didn't do it for me.
that was the most that was the most bizarre 35 seconds ever. But
That was a really hard. Like, do I stop it? Do I keep it going?
You got that, Leighanne? She said that one.
That one.
You got it?
Yeah, that one. I got that one down. Yeah.
All right. So it was My Bloody Valentine. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is creepier.
All right. We love you, Megan. All right, John, you're up.
Yeah, I'm giving this to My Bloody Valentine too. I like that the minor's in it. It does kind of, if you saw that in the video store, if you're old enough to remember that, that was intriguing enough to probably make you want to buy it, because I know that's what worked with me. Valentine, again, like Scream, it was, they had the cast looking dramatic and cool, and then that's it. There's nothing else to it. So My Bloody Valentine's a much cooler poster to me, for sure. That one.
Let's see if Haley goes with the other one. You're up.
So I'm also going to go with My Bloody Valentine, just because it is much more visually striking, and it also interests you more of like, what could this possibly be about? There's a minor, but apparently it's about Valentine's Day. You're much more interested. And I'd also like to shout out My Bloody Valentine 3D, the version where they have the heart Valentine and the minor. I think like that's the best poster of the three, but I would say My Bloody Valentine is much better.
Okay, you and Megan really went off book in this category. I just want to say you're throwing in a movie that's not even in the competition.
It is
so
to me.
good though.
And
I
it
love
won.
that one. I watched it immediately.
All right. Okay. Let's put an end to
Jensen
this.
apples.
This is probably the most insane round that I've ever done on this show. All right, Kat, you're up.
Okay, so Valentine is very much an early 2000s poster with the cast and just so many effects going on. My Bloody Valentine feels a little bit cleaner. It's more simplistic, but it draws me in more. But I couldn't decide, so I looked up both the posters. They both had like a catchphrase on there, and I chose my favorite catchphrase, which was the one from My Bloody Valentine. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Cool. I like the different techniques of judging this category. It's actually kind of cool. And Christy.
Okay, so I am a little older, so I did go to the video store, and if I would have went to the video store when I was a kid and seen both, I would have, of course, went with My Bloody Valentine. It's just scarier looking. That it's more intriguing to me. The Valentine cover just looks teeny bopper. It just has the cast on there, which is what the late 90s and early 2000s did a lot with the movies anyway. Just had the cast on the cover, which is boring to me. So I just feel like My Bloody Valentine, the artwork and all that, is just much more interesting and scary, and makes me want to rent it, buy it, watch it.
Awesome. All right. This is the end, my friend. We are at the final category of the night, and it is fittingly the ending. Which film's ending spoke to you best? And we'll start off with Kat.
So these movies actually had really similar endings, I feel like. Both of them had that, like, boyfriend is actually some type of serial killer and somehow you never realize this, like that weird twist ending. But Valentine actually was even scarier to me because they never found out that he was the killer. He framed Dorothy, I think her name is. He framed her and they just accepted that and he just got away with it completely and there was no surprise on anyone else but the viewer. So I like that ending a lot more because it's just, he got away with it and that's cool to me, I guess. Sucks for them, but it's good for me.
All right. That had to have been close.
It was 38. That's why I was like, do I reach for the timer? Do I reach for the knife? Where are we going with this?
Always go for the knife. All right, Megan.
All right, so both of them technically get away, and she's right, they both have to do with a love story, but I really didn't like My Bloody Valentines. He just kind of went cuckoo right at the very end while he's like without his arm limping off into the darkness, where you almost wonder if it could have been Dorothy, but it's that blood trickle down the face that gives it away. Which, did anybody have DNA testing? He dripped all over every scene. Every kill. But anyways, yeah, Valentine.
I feel like you have a temper tantrum in every single category at some point. You just let loose on something in the film.
I should have mentioned the kill part with the blood dripping down in the first place because it was something that was annoying me.
See, you're so worried about the timing. You're so worried about not dying that you're not getting your points out. That's the problem. Sorry, I don't mean to lecture you on the show.
I see the face.
All right. Excuse me. Christy, you're up.
This is hard, and everybody's already kind of said what I would say too, that endings are a little bit similar, but I am going to go with Valentine for this because I did think that it packed a little bit more of a punch. I thought when I first watched it, I thought it was Dorothy there for a little while until the end, and when he's just kind of holding her and she's having this sweet moment, and she doesn't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden you see the nosebleed, and oh, it's him. It's kind of a moment. So I just thought it packed more of a punch at the end for Valentine.
All right. Haley.
I will say both of them definitely did bamboozle me. I did not expect either of those endings. I will say I did find it fun about sorry, there's a siren going by me. The singing in the end of My Bloody Valentine, but I think Valentine, she doesn't know. She might just have a long, romance with him. They might, who knows? But he's killed all her friends. So I think that's definitely a more unsettling ending, even though I do think Bloody Valentine is a bit more fun.
All right. John, finish it off.
Yeah, this one was tough because they both have kind of these weird endings that don't necessarily make a ton of sense in the great scheme of things. But I kind of went with My Bloody Valentine. It was just, again, going back to when I saw it when I was a kid, it was a little creepier and a little stranger. Valentine, it kind of feels like a plot twist just to have a plot twist. Because I thought it was a dude the whole time. So when they said it was Dorothy, I was like, oh, no, it's not. But so in that regard, it was kind of like, this seems like they're just trying too hard a little bit. Whereas My Bloody Valentine is just weird and cool and kind of creepy and just kind of ends on its own surreal kind of note.
All right. Okay, so we did it. We made it through the show. We casted all our votes. In some episodes, it's close. I don't think that this will be one of them. But that being said, Leighanne, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
You ready to announce the winner? Okay.
I am, but I do have to give a shout out to the final girl that made it without getting killed, which was Megan. Megan, you're the only person that was not murdered tonight, so congratulations.
Goal this time around. It was a goal.
So, I mean, I wish I could lie and say that this is a closer thing, but it wasn't. My Bloody Valentine took it by a landslide. I'm sure you guys all knew that, but that's what you get.
All right. Yeah, it seemed pretty obvious. Now, in the past, we've had some shows start really strong and then lose. So I was like wondering if that was going to happen. Um, I know Valentine is not necessarily a 90s horror film. It kind of fits that time frame, though, and I thought there'd be a little bit more love for that. This panel did a great job, but you really made My Bloody Valentine look like Schindler's List. Um, and I don't think it's quite that great of a film, but it definitely scored an amazing win. I mean, that's pretty much it for this episode. I'd like to thank my killer, Leighanne. You did a good job. You
Thanks.
worked.
It was fun. It was a
worked.
good run. There's some jogging involved on that one.
Exactly. Don't forget to check out old shows of Horror Face Off and interact with us on Horror Face Off Instagram, and let's have some fun. If you have show ideas and all that kind of stuff, always listening. But most of all, thank you to the panelists who came in and delivered the goods. And I can't thank you enough for making the show as awesome as you did. And we will see you on the next episode. See you soon. Take care.